Hey, what's going on, everyone? Axel here, back for another tier list video for Smash Bros. 4 patch 1.1.5. And in the last video, I went over the top tiers. If you haven't seen that video, go to my homepage. You can check it out there. You can also check it out in a link below in the description of this video. I'll put it down there for your convenience. Before I say anything else, I'm going to give this disclaimer in every single video I do on tier lists. I'm not claiming to be a top player. I am not a top player. I'm more of a mid-level-ish player. I play in tournaments. I play competitively. I do pretty well. I'm one of the better players in my area, but not one of the best. So this video I'm making not to try to say that this tier list that I'm making, this is 100% accurate. That's ridiculous. I would never pretend to do that. I'm making this video, one, because it's fun, and two, I think it is cool for players to share their ideas of what characters they think are best. It's not by any means meant to be boastful or to try and like lay my thoughts on other people as in terms of saying I'm right. This is not 100% right. This is not going to be 100% accurate. This is simply what I think. It's just my opinion as a mid-level player. Take it or leave it. So with that said, let's go ahead and get to the high tier. And I split this into an A and an A minus tier because I think there's a little bit of a gap there. And secondly, because I had a lot to say, I realized, and I don't want these videos to be super long. So I'm going to split this into A and A minus tier. I do think there's a gap. I think the A tier, this is the tier that these characters are still extremely good, extremely viable. For the most part, they're solo viable. All they might have one or two matchups that they might need a secondary for, but for the most part, they are very solo viable. And I think all these characters are capable of winning a national. That said, I think these are the last characters on the tier list that are capable of winning a national. I don't think characters below high tier are capable of solo maining winning a national. So let's go ahead and get to the characters here. We've got Sonic, Mario, Fox, Villager, Ness, and Ryu. And when I made that comment about characters being able to win a national, I meant both this A tier and the A minus tier, which I'll do next video, just to be clear on that. So I'm not saying that these are the only characters that can win a national or anything, and it's not what I think. All right, so let's go ahead and get started talking about these characters. So Sonic, I put at number 7. Sonic is the quintessential runaway character in this game, in a game that rewards mobility. Sonic, if he has the lead on you, it's very, very tough to get it back because he can just run away. He can also reset neutral whenever he wants. He has a very good neutral in the form of Spin Dash. Spin Dash is pretty darn safe on shield. If he hits your shield, it can up B and be safe. He has a good recovery. He's been nerfed. Like, his damage has been nerfed on his some of his combos. His back throw doesn't kill near as early anymore. That was a big nerf. But he's still a character that's very polarizing in a lot of ways and can really punish a lot of characters that don't have mobility. Like, if you cannot really play a slow character against Sonic, you'll just get destroyed. Don't try to play Ganondorf for Link or any of these slower characters against Sonic. Will just get destroyed. He's very good bait and punish character, so has a just overall good character. Great neutral, good approach, excellent mobility, excellent recovery, pretty good edge guarding. The only thing that kind of holds Sonic back from being like one of the top characters in the game is his frame data overall isn't that good. He has trouble getting the lead back if he falls behind, and he can struggle to kill at times. He's also tends to be very predictable and one-dimensional. Basically, he relies on Spin Dash, even though there are two types of Spin Dash. He tends to rely on those. So, very good character, capable of solo main winning a national, but I think he's just not quite as good as a few other characters, and specifically the top tiers. So let's move on to Mario. Mario, I put at number 8. Mario he's really stuck around in this area of the tier list for quite a while. Mario is just when you think of a standard character, I think you think of Mario. He has a great combo game off of grab. He has probably the best, I would say Mario and Luigi definitely have the best set of smashes in the game. They're both pretty strong and they're extremely fast. Mario's up smash is absolutely ridiculous. It's very hard to punish. You can basically fish for kills pretty darn safely as Mario. He's got excellent edge guarding with Cape and Flood. He particularly does really well against characters that don't have top tier recoveries. Mario, his only real weakness is his ground game is a bit lacking compared to some of the top tiers. He also has a lack of range, and he can struggle to get in at times. That said, he has some of the best frame data in the game. That's another weakness, strength of his that I didn't mention. He has got a nair that can give out of combos. Just overall a very good character, and he's also pretty easy to play and pick up. One of the easier characters in the game, perhaps the easiest. I think Cloud might be a little bit easier, but Mario is one of the easier characters to pick up. Just overall, very solid character. He just has a few weaknesses I think that holds him back. And his neutral, while great, isn't quite as good as some of the top tiers. So let's move on to Fox. Now Fox, I really debated putting him here because Fox doesn't have, other than like Larry Lurr, he doesn't have the best of results. He's still a very good character, but Fox is a quintessential glass cannon in this game. If you want a character that's just has like an offensive game on steroids that goes in that play, if you want to play like a character that plays like Smash Brothers Melee, like Fox is probably the character for you. If you want to play a super aggressive style, he does that and he does it well. He's got a good tool with his laser also that forces people to approach at times. Just combos people for days. But Fox has a couple of weaknesses. Actually, two big weaknesses that really, even though I think he has the firepower to match some of the top tiers, he doesn't have the defensive game. So he's lacking in the two biggest weaknesses is his fall speed. Particularly some matchups like Rosalina, for example. Like Rosalina can get like off a grab, he can get like a 30+% multi grab out of a grab to up throw to jab at lower percents just because of how fast Fox falls. He gets comboed to hell by characters like Sheik. I think he can struggle with some of the top tiers just because of how hard he gets juggled. He's also very light, so he dies early and gets damage racked up onto him quickly, and he has a very exploitable recovery. So even though he has a super good offensive game, his defensive qualities kind of hold him back. Let's move on to Villager. Villager is good because of Renai. Like, Renai is a character, and I apologize for my chair squeaking a little bit here, guys. Probably wondering what that noise is. Villager is famous because of Renai, and I put him, I think he is the 6th. Yeah, he rounds out the top 10 in my tier list. Villager, great zoning tools. Slingshot's pretty ridiculous. Lloyd Rocket's a great tool that he can use to pressure and sometimes force approaches. He's got a ridiculous recovery distance. He can recover from anywhere. Fantastic edge guarding. And he's got a great wild card with Bowling Ball, which has got ridiculous knockback. It's super scary off stage. He can drop it off the edge. It's pretty ridiculous. He's got some combos now out of down throw because for some reason they gave him combo throw in a previous patch, even though he's still like really good. I think Villager's only other real issues is he can struggle to kill at times because he doesn't have really a lot of good kill setups. He also has a few rough matchups like Rosalina that gives any projectile character trouble because they're down B. He also has a very laggy grab, so he loses to shield pretty hard. So those are some of the weaknesses that he has that keep him more of a high tier character than a top tier character. Also, he doesn't have a lot of representation other than Renai. There's really no other top players doing work with him. Okay, next on the tier list, I put Ness. Ness is actually, I think he's rising some. Foe is doing really well with him, and I know there's a few others like Shaky, Nakat. He's got pretty good representation. Nessa's got a ridiculous combo game. He of course has what makes him such a good character is his ridiculous kill throw, his back throw, which can just kill you at stupid percents near the ledge. Other than that, he's got ridiculous hitboxes. His up air is super strong, will kill you really early. He's got great edge guarding. He can throw his energy ball out there, and it will basically he can recover, or he can challenge recoveries without putting himself in jeopardy. So overall, really good character. Some of his issues is he's really kind of slow and floaty in the air, especially, which can make certain matchups like Sheik really rough for him. And of course, he has a terrible matchup with Rosalina because Rosalina's down, he can absorb his recovery. So he's got a few like bad matchups, I think, that keep him out of being a top tier. But he's still got really good tools, just not quite as good as some of the other top tiers. Okay, lastly, I put Ryu, and I think this is. So Ryu, I put at 12, and I think this is very different from a lot of players. I think he's quite a bit lower on my tier list than other players put him. And let me explain that. While Ryu is ridiculous up close, like he has hit confirms for days with his tilts into shoryukens, into down tilts, into all kinds of crazy stuff he can do. He has one or two exploitable weaknesses. Similar to Fox, his defense isn't that good. He's huge. He's pretty slow in the air. He has mobility issues. He can be juggled easily. Also, his main issue is he has trouble approaching at times. He can get lamed out really hard. So while Ryu is very, very scary up close, he's not scary at all at a distance. Like his Hadouken projectile is actually really slow. You should never be. It's actually not very good except for like edge guarding or protecting his recovery as he recovers. He just gets laid out and camped really hard. Like you can just kind of run away from him the whole time and zone him out, which is why I think he's lower than he is, and I think it's one reason why he's not getting the kind of results. So the combination of being juggled for days and getting zoned out, having approaching issues, I think really, really hurts the character because he needs to get in and get in consistently to do well, and he just can't do that against players that are playing properly and defensively. So that's why I put him where he is, even though he's considered by a lot of other players to be top 5, or some consider him top 5. I think the tier list put him at the last tier list put him at number 4. The one good thing about him, though, is he hasn't been touched in patches. He hasn't been nerfed. The other reason I put him as low as I did is he doesn't have much representation, other than like Trella and I think 9B, and like DJ Jack does stuff with him too, but he doesn't have like tons of representation or results. Now that is changing. Trella just won a big tournament, and he's been tearing it up in his region. I know pretty recently, a lot recently, and is really coming to his own. So this might change. I might put him higher in the future, but for now, I'm still going to put him at number 12 because I think that one weakness that he has is actually more of a hindrance than I wouldn't say all, but it's a really big hindrance, which might be more than any of the characters I've named so far. More of a weakness. Like his approach game is really a problem for him. So guys, that is going to be the high tiers. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will be back next time with the A- tier. I'll continue this video until I complete it, and I'm getting now to the parts where it's getting more difficult because I think the top tiers and the high tiers are pretty self-explanatory at this point. Like everyone knows what the best characters are. Yeah, you could argue in order a little bit, but I think all the characters I've named so far, I think everyone can agree that they are top or high tier. So as I move on now to mid tiers and lower high tiers, and especially by the bottom tiers, it's going to get a lot more difficult and a lot more debatable where I place characters. So just keep that in mind. It's not going to be perfect, and it's going to vary a lot more from perhaps the way you might think. So guys, I appreciate you watching the video and bearing with me. I'm actually a little bit sick, as you can probably tell, but I decided to make this video anyways. I will be back next time for my other video, and I've kind of rambled here on, so I'll just stop. But thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.